Hi, I'm Kate. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. Today I'm going to be discussing my December TBR.
Chestnuts roasting, Jack Frost nipping at your nose.
December is going to be a busy but fun month, and I am planning to read a lot. In November, which it still technically is when I'm filming this, I took part in Nonfiction November, and I did read quite a few nonfiction books, so keep an eye out for that video. I will actually be doing my October and November wrap-up since I never did an October one. Got married, just been a little busy. And that being said, because I've been so busy, November I really just focused on the nonfiction books and starting to clean up some of the books that I didn't finish in October. So December is just kind of going to be a cleanup month. I'm going to be reading some holiday books, but also I want to get to books that I've either started and not finished throughout the year, or books that have just been like on my radar that I've been planning to read that I just haven't. I will also be participating in G from Book Roast's Harry Potter themed readathon. That's going to be taking place between the 16th and the 26th or 27th, I believe. But I will do a separate TBR for that because that's, you know, like towards the end of the month. So I want to see what I get read in the first 2 weeks, and then I'll adjust and I'll create my TBR for it then. I will link that down below. This is the 4th Harry Potter readathon that she's done this year. The first was the Owls, which I participated in. The second was the Newts. They were a lot of fun. There was the extra credits that she just did. In either September or October. I didn't get a chance to do that just because I was busy, but this one is going to be the last one for the year, obviously, and that is Christmas at Hogwarts, and I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, so let's just get started. I have talked about this one on my channel before, on other TBRs, so I'm just going to talk about it real quick, but that is Beren and Luthien, and again, this is just a story that takes place before the events in the Lord of the Rings trilogy that you're familiar with. It takes place before The Hobbit, and this is the first Dark Lord, Morgoth. This story in particular follows a love story, or it follows two people that are in love, a human and an elf, and yeah, looking forward to finally finishing this one. I started it. I really like it. The first book in this kind of like earlier series, Children of Hurin, I really enjoyed. So again, looking forward to getting to this one. The next book is another one that I've talked about on this channel quite a bit, and that is the Dragonbone Chair by Tad Williams. Again, I really enjoying what I've read so far. I'm about 100 pages in, and this is a series, this is a trilogy that actually inspired George R.R. Martin to write his A Song of Ice and Fire series, and I could definitely see the parallels. I could definitely see where he got some inspiration. There are like some Children of the Forest type characters and the First Men, and it's just a lot of comparable stuff, but again, different, and I'm actually looking forward to having a finished trilogy that again I could finish. And actually, just a quick side note, like no shade towards George, because that's his series and he could take as long as he wants. Fire and Blood actually just came out, so hey, let's just talk about that now. Fire and Blood came out. That is the 300-year history of the Targaryens in Westeros. He actually just confirmed, too, he didn't put it in the book, but he confirmed a long-held fan theory that Aegon the Conqueror conquered Westeros and united them under one king because he knew the threat of the White Walkers. So that's just an interesting side note. That is another book that I don't physically have, but I plan on reading. Although from the pictures, it looks like quite a chunker, so we'll see. Another book I've started and I really like, and I just started it recently, I had to be in the office for work, and that is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I've been hearing a lot of great things about this book, and I gotta say, again, I'm like 75 pages in, and I'm really intrigued so far. This tells the story of a man that wakes up every day at the same party in this like English countryside manor. He wakes up every day in the body of a different guest at this party, and he has to figure out who is murdering Evelyn Hardcastle, the host of the party's daughter. Then a book I kind of like bought on a whim, and it's been sitting on my shelf, but like I bought it because it was on sale, and I had every intention of actually reading it during this month, and that is How to Find Love in a Bookshop by Veronica Henry. I haven't really seen anybody else talk about this. It was like in the new book section at Barnes & Noble, and I mean, it's about a bookshop. That's just like the total, like I don't think it actually includes like Christmas or the holidays, but to me like a book about a bookshop is just like definitely cozy winter December reading. And now we're getting to my book of the month, so I'm just gonna end this TBR with a couple books of the month that I'm trying to catch up on. I told myself at the beginning of the year that I was only gonna keep my book of the month subscription if I was able to keep up with the books, and I definitely fell behind pretty early on, but I kept my subscription going. I have like a shelf overflowing with book of the month books, but I've been digging myself out of that hole. I have been reading a couple every month. So one that I've started that I'm really enjoying and that I'm looking forward to finishing, and again I feel like it's going to be a great like December cozy read, that is The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock by Imogen Hermes Gower. And this tells the story of London in 1785. Jonah Hancock owns a shipping company, and one day, after not hearing from his captain for weeks, the captain shows up at his door and has sold his prized boat for the body of a mermaid. It also tells the story of London ladies of the nights or courtesans, and how these stories interconnect. I don't think it actually has anything to do with like the holiday season. I think it is winter at the beginning of this story, but I just think that London 1700s, late 1700s, it's just going to be a great December cozy read. And then the next book is one that I heard on one of my book podcasts, and I don't know why, it's just the hearing the two women talk about this book and how good it was. Like the name stuck with me, and that doesn't always happen with a lot of books, especially if I don't get them into my Goodreads right away. But for some reason, The Animators by Kayla Ray Whitaker, like every time I saw this book, I was like, oh, that's right, they said it was so good, they said it was so good. So last month, I just wanted to fill up my book of the month box, and I went back and realized this was on there and got it. This tells a story of two women who become friends. They are animators. They collaborate on a film that ends up getting a lot of praise. But then it's kind of the dynamics of that relationship, the dynamics with these women and their families and their friends, and what happens when one of them is viewed as kind of the breakout star versus both of them. And this is one that it was probably more of like an October-November read, but I mean, I think that I need at least like one thriller every month. I gotta try at least one. So this month I'm gonna be picking up Sweet Little Lies by Kaz Freer. I have heard some positive things about this one. This tells a story of a detective who's investigating a murder, and her father is one of the suspects, and she knows that when she was a child, her father kind of lied or covered up a big crime. So is he covering up again? Is he the one that committed this crime? It sounds intriguing, so I'm looking forward. If I have to pick one thriller on my shelf for this month, I'm happy with this one. And then finally, one that I think is probably going to end up being on my other TBR for the Christmas at Hogwarts readathon, that is Naomi Novik's Spinning Silver. I was super excited to get this one in my book of the month, and I did again specifically wait. I got this, but then I wanted to wait for December or winter to read this. I am looking forward to it. I'm interested. I'm going in as kind of not unspoiled, but I'm going into this as open-minded as possible because I've seen some people love this and I've seen some people hate it. I have not read Uprooted, Naomi Novik's book before this. That was very popular, but I do know going into this, a lot of people have the complaint that the chapters, because there are multiple point of view characters, that the chapters sometimes get confusing because you don't know which character is speaking. You don't know who the chapter is about, and I have seen some people say that they've had to go back and reread the chapter because it's not the character they thought it was, and then they get to a point and realize, oh, I've been thinking it's this character and it's really that character. And this is actually a retelling, a loose retelling of the story of Rumpelstiltskin. There are two female main characters. There is an ice king, or like a pixie king or a something king, an ice king, and there's a woman who I believe the main character is Miriam, or one of the main characters is Miriam. Her father is a tax collector or a debt collector. He lends out money, but he's not great at getting the money back, and she ends up kind of taking over that role, and she's so good at collecting money that people say that she spins silver. So this ice king, fairy king, whatever he is, hears this and kind of challenges her. That's really, I know there's more than one female main character in this, but that's the only one that I'm familiar with. And I do want to go into this, like I said, with an open mind and not knowing too much, but I am glad that I got the feedback from people saying to watch out for the characters, to really pay attention. So yeah. Okay, so I'm hoping to have a very productive December reading-wise. I'd love to know what's on your December TBR, or what you're trying to finish up before the new year starts. I'm super excited to be making some bookish New Year goals, and I can't wait to make that video. Link your December TBRs down below. Comment on any of the books that I have if you've read them and liked or disliked them. And other than that, I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Hey!